There are few things I love more than computer data made beautiful. Yeah, weird, I know. It's even better when you can throw it up on a massive circular wall and then peruse it all from your evil genius's chair.
Yes, first I'm going to destroy the Earth, then the solar system, and finally the entire galaxy. Apart from Alpha Centauri, which is where all my clones shall live. Oh.
This is the Data Observatory at London's Imperial College, on which you can observe, well, any data you want.
That's where we are, right now, right there.
Today, Professor William Nottenbelt is using it to show me financial transactions, specifically all of those being made right now using the digital currency Bitcoin. These are where the Bitcoin transactions are happening around the world right now. And here we can see the individual transactions as they happen.
What's going on there?
This is somebody who is hoovering up lots of little bits of amounts of Bitcoin from their wallet and using it to make two payments here.
So they're just going down the back of the sofa and finding old pennies?
That's right.
All right. Maximum vacuuming going on here, by the way. That's a lot of change down the back of the sofa they're finding.
There's actually a lot of activity also going on in China, but we can't see most of it because it's behind the Great Firewall of China.
Love to know what's going on behind that Great Firewall.
Unusual transactions look even more lovely. In fact, this malicious activity looks a bit like a parasitic worm, which I guess, in a way, is what it is. There's also beauty in how the Bitcoin currency works and how transactions are recorded. Just like a bank will keep a record of the movement of money, something called a ledger, there is a record of all of the Bitcoin transactions that have ever been made. It's a massive file called the blockchain. And the brilliant thing about the blockchain is it can't be tampered with. You can't fake an entry, delete a payment, or create new fake Bitcoins. And that's because copies of the blockchain are stored on thousands of computers across the globe. You can't alter the record of events unless you can somehow tamper with each copy of the file on the majority of these machines. Let's face it, realistically, you can't.
Right, I'm about to make a Bitcoin payment on this phone, and you will see that transaction enter the Bitcoin network. Here we go. Sending payments. And bang, there it is. There's my payment. It's now in the Bitcoin network waiting to be verified. Already, all of these computers around the world know about that transaction, and in a few minutes' time, one of them is going to verify it, and it's going to be baked into the blockchain forever. A permanent record of my transaction that, in theory at least, cannot ever be tampered with or undone.
But the blockchain method is more than just a way of keeping Bitcoin records. The idea of a tamper-proof ledger stored on many, many machines is being taken seriously as a way to keep a record of all sorts of transactions. Jamie Bartlett has been to meet a few blockchain entrepreneurs.
I think the blockchain, to me, it's all about efficiency.
You know, what's cool about a blockchain is that it's software that operates autonomously.
Much like in the music business, like the combination of the iPod and the iTunes marketplace. We think it has the potential to be that disruptive moment.
The blockchain is a piece of technology in order to facilitate trust amongst individuals, government, enterprise and business.
So we're in the City of London at the Ethereum Developer Conference. 300 or so people have paid £750 each to be here for the week to learn more about the blockchain. They're calling it Web 3.0, and they're saying this is the way the internet was meant to be, something that's not run by anybody, but actually is sort of run by everybody because no one person can control it. And the reason so many people are here, from banks to software companies and startups, is because they think it could dramatically improve how markets work.
Right now, if you want to sell your house, it requires a lot of paperwork, legal agreements, solicitors, and it can be slow and expensive. The idea is that this could be done as a digital transaction that's recognized and verified on the blockchain, much faster and secure without third parties getting involved. Now, the possible implications of that, what you could do with that, are almost too many to imagine.
I mean, if you think about our existing financial system, well, they're holding all of this money, and that gives them a lot of power, and that's one of the really compelling things about decentralization. You know, it doesn't have some guy sitting in the middle of it who's, you know, can abuse the system if they want to.
Bureaucracy in general is going to start floating away as we get governments, institutions, individuals, businesses, enterprises to be able to trust and deal with each other transparently, as easy as we can send an email today.
Sort of the end of bureaucracy.
Potentially, yeah.
A lot of bureaucrats are going to be watching this slightly worried about their jobs.
So who is behind this potentially transformative piece of technology? The inventor of Ethereum, which is one application of blockchain, is 21-year-old Vitalik Buterin.
In general, I think, we're seeing sort of new technological eras that are kind of as different from each other as, say, the Iron Age and the Bronze Age were, but we're seeing these eras come up every, 10 to 20 years. No single technology is definitely going to sort of bring about the exact utopia that your particular political ideology prescribes, but it definitely does sort of make very significant steps in that direction. So by sort of working together, we can create systems that are much more reliable than any single one of us could ever possibly be.
This is because the blockchain is a distributed system, which means no one person is in charge of checking it. Every user effectively has a copy of the data, and a certain number of those users check the transactions to make sure they're all accurate and fit together.
This kind of decentralized, distributed system is a possible way of making the internet more democratic in a sense. And that kind of connection, how you can change technology that might change society, the benefits, I think, are quite clear to the typical user and to the way the internet works, certainly not without its difficulties.
Indeed, this kind of technology is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it is censorship resistant and it lacks a central point of control, but that's also a problem. Imagine, for example, somebody had transferred ownership of your car or your house to someone else in a malicious manner. How would you get repossession of your house? There is no court or appeal body that you could go to. Also, as the sophistication of this technology improves, people are going to write viruses that would attempt to accumulate economic wealth. In the same way as currently they try to write viruses to steal your bank details and so on, now it'll actually be stealing your assets.